these five metrics in line, that's going to get us most of the way to the finish line without getting very complicated. So I want you to focus on your waist circumference. And again, very easy, measure that at home. I want you to focus on your blood pressure. Again, you can measure it at home. And then when it comes to labs, there are three basic labs to be looking at: your fasting blood glucose level, your HDL cholesterol level, and your triglyceride level. And, you can go to the book and get the numbers. You can go to my website, ifixhearts.com, right on the front page, free quiz that will lead you through those metrics and help you determine if you're metabolically healthy or not. And if you get those five metrics all into the healthy range, pretty good chance that you're going to be insulin sensitive and, in a good place. There are some more advanced metrics that, I oftentimes will be looking at with patients, things like your insulin level, various ways to determine whether or not you are insulin resistant. And, again, there's lots of different options there, and there are some complex tests that we can get into. But ultimately, start with the basics, get those right. And then, as you're working with a skilled practitioner on this, as you're educating yourself, you can get more into the weeds and we can, figure out if you're truly optimized or not.
I love how you make it so simple because some people make it so complex, but you make it so simple. And another thing that people find it's simple, but they find it complex is weight loss. And from your perspective, being a heart surgeon, do you think that cardio or exercise is a good way for people to lose weight?
So I think it can be a adjunct, but I don't think that cardio is effective in and of itself in weight loss. And we have multiple studies that show this. So, it's not that cardio is bad. It's just that it's not really effective for weight loss. And when I'm talking to people about their activities and their exercise, I ask them to prioritize building muscle first and foremost before you're doing the cardio. And there's many reasons for that, but ultimately muscle is more metabolically active, will help us lose fat, and will help us to maintain our metabolic health. Um, if after you've put proper time and energy into building and maintaining your muscle mass. If you want to add some cardio, great, but understand that it's not necessary. I know plenty of people that have optimized their metabolic health without ever stepping on a treadmill or running long distances. Maintaining muscle mass is a much more important factor as we're looking to improve our metabolic health and as we look at things like predictors of longevity and health span.
So, resistance training not only helps with the weight loss along with the diet, it also predicts longevity, reversing disease, and helping you maintain a healthy lifestyle. So, when it comes to doing cardio, is there because people are saying that, but cardio is healthy for you. We should be doing cardio because it's good for your cardiovascular system. But you're saying that you should prioritize resistance training first, and then if you have extra time, do cardio. Is that right?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. And again, I'm not saying that cardio is bad for you or cardio isn't good for your health. It's just that it shouldn't be our priority. And the reality is that most people have limited resources to put to this. And I want them to be putting that towards insulin, towards building and maintaining muscle mass, which is ultimately going to have a greater impact on what we're trying to fix.
Absolutely. And also, when it comes to weight loss, I think some people think that they should be counting calories for weight loss and also to achieve optimal health, reverse disease. Do you think that counting at all is useful in your experience?
No, I really don't think that counting calories is a useful strategy. When we look at the whole concept of calories in, calories out, what we see is that there are problems on both sides of that equation. When we're looking at the calories in, the reality is that we do a very lousy job of counting calories when we try. Um, the if your food has a label on it, which for the most part it shouldn't, there's a good chance that there is a 10 to 20% error in the label as to the amount of calories that that food actually contains. And we also need to understand that, again, not all calories are the same. And there are things like the thermogenic effects of food that don't get accounted for when we are calculating these calories. On the other side of the equation, we have no good way of determining how many calories we burn. Uh, Outside of a laboratory setting, this is notoriously difficult to estimate, and these formulas that we use to try and estimate it are inaccurate. And again, the amount of calories that we're burning are going to be influenced by the types of calories, the types of food that we're eating, and then things like activity, muscle mass, all of these complex things. So calories in, calories out just does not work as a model for weight loss. I know I certainly tried to use it many times, and it just doesn't work. I would have some short term success because, yes, when you eat less food in general, that's going to cause you to lose some weight, but it wouldn't maintain over the long run. And numerous studies have shown this.
And I am absolutely the same way. Prior to starting carnivore, I used to count calories, I used to diet, doing all these different things. But it's interesting that when I started carnivore, I let go of all of that. I'm actually eating more than I did previously and maintaining a healthy weight. And I'm sure that many people are curious. What does a carnivore heart surgeon eat in a day?
Yeah, so my dietary pattern for most days is pretty simple. I usually eat once or twice a day, and that's going to be you know animal-based foods. So the way that my days tend to run is that I fast in the morning. I typically won't have breakfast. I'll have some coffee, usually black coffee, and so I typically won't eat in the morning. And sometime around mid-afternoon, when my schedule slows down enough and I might start getting hungry, I'll typically eat one meal, and then again, depending on the day, a few hours later in the early evening, I might have a second meal, or I might just have the one meal in the evening, depending on how my day is running. I focus on the amount of protein that I get in a day. I want to make sure I get adequate protein, and so for me, that means on most days eating somewhere between a pound and 2 pounds of meat. And oftentimes I'll mix in a few eggs or maybe some yogurt with that. It ends up being pretty simple. I do like eating a variety of meats. So red meats, ruminant animals. I'll mix in seafood as well. I minimize the non-ruminant animals because of some of the issues that can come up with how they're being fed, and that kind of covers it for me. Like I said, I like the simplicity, the ease of doing a carnivore diet.
And do you think that people that are following carnivore or on their lifestyle, do you think that they have to do fasting? Because I know that you do 1 or 2 meals a day. I get so many questions. Should I fast? Not fast? 3 meals a day? How many meals a day if they want to lose weight and reverse disease?
Yeah, so I don't think fasting is essential, but I think it can be a great tool, especially if you're looking to lose weight. Now, there are a number of people that come at this situation that they're not necessarily overweight, but they are insulin resistant. And in that situation, fasting might not be the best tool for them or might be more difficult. People who are chronically undernourished, have been dieting chronically, like many of us have. At first, fasting might not be the right tool. So I really guide people, this is where you follow your hunger. When we get the processed foods out of our system, we can now trust our hunger signals, and we can eat when we're hungry and eat until we're full. Now, until you get to that point, like I said, it's going to depend on your situation. In general, if you're, overweight and obese, if you're insulin resistant, probably, integrating some component of fasting is going to be useful for you. But I don't like to force the issue. I don't like people, doing the fast because they think they have to do the fast. I like them getting to the point where they're just hungry less often, and then fasting kind of naturally becomes part of your plan.
And that's what I love about you, because Dr. Ovadia he's so of the people, if I can say that. It's more about giving people a general understanding about, okay, you can try this, and people really understand what's going to work for them to lose weight. It's not that you have to follow this or follow this. It's kind of a general principles that you can follow to achieve your best health. But I just want to say thank you so much, Dr. Ovadia, for taking the time out to speak to us about heart disease, about weight loss, about how to achieve our optimal health. How can people find you?
Yeah, so iFix Hearts is really the way to find me everywhere. So the website, ifixhearts.com, you can find out there about all the ways that my team and I work with people to implement these processes and to improve their health. I do have a private telemedicine practice, so I see people in consultation and work with them on an ongoing basis. We also have great coaching programs, courses, the book, everything is there. Over on social media, again, iFix Hearts at Twitter is where I'm most active. You can also find me on Instagram over at Ovadia Heart Health. And then we have the iFix Hearts YouTube channel where I host the Stay Off My Operating Table podcast. And we have lots of great conversations every week.
You are such a busy heart surgeon. Along with your job, you're doing all that social media work. That's amazing. Thank you so much, Dr. Ovadia, and I'm sure we're going to see you very soon. You might like to watch this video next with Dr. Elizabeth Bride, especially if you're starting a carnivore diet to heal and to lose weight. You might need to know how to start a high-fat carnivore lifestyle the right way. You might also like to watch this video by Dr. Ken Berry discussing the ultimate beginner guide to start the carnivore diet.